Hey up, welcome to Craig Reviews, and today I've got a really special review. I've got a bit of tech which I wouldn't normally be reviewing. However, I'm at a stage in my life where my grandma has become very aged, she's suffering with dementia, and she's moved into care. So this is really relevant and really topical to me. Now, when I started to look at the market, there's a load of tech that targets care homes and dementia sufferers and people that have had a stroke and people that are just like in end-of-life care. And one of the things that I was really keen to do is to explore the idea of tablet devices for the care home. And I looked at loads. There's quite a few on the market, but I wouldn't say they're all equal. The one that really stood out for me, for a couple of different reasons, is the Inspired Inspirations tiny tablet. This is their fixed height model. They do another model where you can elevate it up to 6 foot, which is incredible. You might look at it and think, well, it's just a big tablet in a table. And yes, it is. But there's also a lot more to it. And some of these features are quite subtle, but all of them have been designed through over 1,200 visits to care homes. So the idea behind this product is that you can use it not only as an engagement aid for a group or individuals within a care home setting and within education, but also a training aid. I hate the idea that my grandma has got to a stage in her life where everything is diminishing. Her sight's diminishing, her touch and feel is diminishing, her hearing is pretty much gone, you know, her memories are on the way out. Everything is diminishing. The idea of being able to engage the mind and engage the body, I love that. And just by looking at and spending a bit of time with this device, I think this is a perfect tool for it. I could literally do this for hours. This is just mental how it engages your brain and gets your hands moving. And I can really see the benefit of not having a screen that's too big. You know, the guys at Inspired Inspirations tell me that like this is their optimal screen size. Anything bigger and your residents are going to be struggling to kind of get to the corners. If they're doing jigsaws or even a game like this, you know, they're going to struggle to get to that. And you don't want any kind of frustration. So, you know, I believe them. I believe this is the optimum size for the screen. So I've been lucky enough to come down. I live pretty close to Inspired Inspirations, which are based in Shropshire. I got in touch with them, I reached out with them and they invited me down. It is a big purchase. I'll tell you now, I think it's worth every penny, if not more. The first impressions of this tablet, it's been designed so that it is care resident proof. And I know that some residents can become a little bit violent and damage stuff, but good luck. You know, during the demonstration, Stuart, was the owner of Inspired Inspirations, was banging on the screen, he was kicking the back, he was flipping the table, and I'm like, jeez, he's gonna break it, there's gonna be nothing left for me to review. But it withstood it all. You know, I've no doubt that whatever happens in the care home, this thing would survive. You know, it's pretty robust. Okay, let's try some of these. Word search. Yeah, another classic that my grandma absolutely loves, the old word search. So let's see how we go. All right, we've got to rotate the screen. It's amazing how solid this feels. Now that mechanism there, I mean, it's going to get used all the time. Got stacks of confidence in it. It just locks into place, and that really is solid. This is real oak. It's not your veneer rubbish. You can see the time and effort put into creating these jigsaw-like edges. You can see the kind of quality compared to a lot of the products that I've seen, or similar comparable products on the market. This has got to be the most well engineered and well manufactured, and I'm proud to say that it's British made, small family business, British made, and I really do like it. Straight away it's engaging. I can imagine wheeling this up to Grandma Mary and just putting it in front of her and her having curiosity straight away. Now, you know, humans, we're emotional beings, and there's a couple of emotions that we can trigger easily, like anger and embarrassment and sadness. You don't want to trigger those negative emotions. But one emotion that you can always guarantee on that is going to end well is curiosity. When somebody is curious, they can't be angry, they can't be sad, they can't be disappointed. Straight away, I can see how this just breeds curiosity. You know, people want to know what's going on with it. I love the fact that it doesn't look like medical technology. I've seen other screens and it just looks like a big heart rate monitor. A lot of residents have just seen too much of that. Little beeps going, beep, 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 constant beeps, monitoring their heart rate, their breathing, their supply of medication, whatever, and I'm pretty sure that they've had enough of seeing that. When it comes to the aesthetics, this tiny tablet, it's been designed not just for like practicality, but it looks like a decent bit of furniture. You wouldn't be ashamed of this being in the corner of the room. It fits in well. Even the classiest care home, it wouldn't look out of place. This is the thing that kind of got me. It's the first thing that Stuart showed me when I came in, and he said, Craig, just touch the screen. Now, when you think about a resident, and straight away I translated it to my grandma, and I was thinking, you know, how would I get her to use a tablet? The idea of giving her a phone, even giving an old school calculator, she wouldn't use it. She hasn't got the dexterity in her hands. You know, she's not into technology, hates technology. How do I get her interested in this? And he said to me, Craig, just touch the screen. So I touched the screen. And my first word was, to a 90-year-old woman, that is magic. You tell me that if someone touches the screen and sees this, that they're not curious about what's going on straight away. They've got awe. Awe is another emotion that it reduces the amount of stress that we feel in certain situations. It's actually been proven to reduce pain in ultra runners. When people are in awe of their surroundings and awe of nature and other people's abilities, it reduces a lot of those things. So to be in awe over a bit of technology and a bit of care home entertainment or furniture, whatever way you want to class this as, can only be a good thing. This big table facilitates the use, meaning, you know, makes easy. This definitely makes using apps and stuff that people have designed really, really well, easy. You know, the big screen. Don't get me wrong, this isn't perfect, but I don't think it's necessarily the table that's at fault, and there's a compromise to be made. And I think by the time I tell you, you will agree that the compromise is worth it. The upside is the apps are free. That's definitely a benefit. Now, you could sign up to some of the pro versions, but your subscription amount is going to be going up and up and up. And Inspired Inspirations could have pre-installed software and charged you a subscription from that. You haven't. You've got the Play Store, okay? And it's free, and you've got the benefit of all that, and they're regularly updated. New apps getting added every week, okay? And it's just getting better and better and better. The downside is in some of these apps, you're going to run in some ads. And that is the kind of the thing that winds me up a little bit, because not only does it interrupt what you're doing, it's not always obvious how you close the apps down. Even for me, you know, and I work in technology, and you know, I've got a good understanding of how these apps kind of work. So someone who is a little bit older and not quite as familiar with apps may struggle with that. Now, there are a couple of workarounds. The obvious one is you just turn off the Wi-Fi, you know, and that stops a lot of the ads. Another thing you can do is you can install an ad blocker, and this is the preferred method from Inspired Inspirations. You know, all the tables that they supply, they put these ad blockers on there. Okay, one of the things my grandma used to absolutely love doing was jigsaws. Nowadays she can't do it because her hand's she's not got the dexterity required. I'm sure you appreciate. I'm gonna give this one a go. So, I mean, it's just dead easy. How many pieces do you want? How easy you want to make it? It's completely scalable depending on what your residents need. And I think that is key to being able to make some of these things person-centered, you know, so you can have these person-centered activities, which I know are important for every care home or education facility or whatever. Got a big bear in here. You know what? It's not as easy as you think. Get your corners in. We all know that's important on the jigsaw. Get your corners in. Big bear's nose. Big bear's foot. What happens as soon as they're done? Oh yeah, nice. Save. Your battery's going to give you 10 hours, okay? It's completely portable. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not really, really light, you know, and you're going to have to take care to get it through doors and all this kind of stuff, but it is on wheels. It's robust enough for a couple of people to lug it around. That means if you've got people that are just settling in, they're confined to their beds, they're a little bit nervous of coming out of their own room, it means they can all enjoy it because it's not in a fixed place. At the minute, we've got it plugged in, but 10 hours of battery, that's a full day, pretty much, of entertainment before you've got to plug it in at night time. I love the fact that the screen, you know, is really, really tough and robust. And it's also easy to clean. any review nowadays of any kind of tech, we've got to mention sort of COVID and keeping things clean. And this is just so easy to kind of wipe down and sanitize, ready for the next user. You're not going to have any problems with that. One of the sickening things about interacting with someone with dementia is the fact that, their memories have gone. And any way that, for my grandma, I can stimulate memories has just got to be a winner. And we know that locations and that they're a real strong anchor to a lot of memories. And just to be able to come into Google Earth on a big screen like this and then type in where she lives. I mean, this is where my grandma spent so much time, in Mecca Bingo in Halifax. Genuine, for her to see this picture and then to be able to relate this and just see it. I mean, to a 90-year-old woman, this is almost like witchcraft. So I've just brought you aside here to have a look at it. Now, it's like a double wall, which just protects it. So no resident or no member of staff is gonna put the foot through this and cause any problems. It's also been built in a modular way, thereby, there's three things that you're gonna have problems with this in regards to like future-proofing the product. The first one is that the software is going to come out of date. That's an update thing, your screen's not going to function right, okay? But the screen can be popped out and put back in. You get a quote, you get that fixed, but it's going to be good for a good 8 years at least. The other thing is going to be the battery, okay? We know that batteries are really, really good and they're getting better all the time, but they are a limiting factor to a lot of stuff, whether it's your mobile phone, tablets, your laptops, and it's no different for this. However, the way that this is built, instead of it being a sealed unit where you can't really get into it, when the battery's knackered, you literally leave it in the corner and you put your cups of tea on it, you can take that out. You can get the guys at Inspired Inspirations to replace that battery. All right, it's going to be a little bit extra cost, but it's much better than having to replace the whole bit of kit. And I like that. And I know other products on the market, it's a sealed unit, you can't do it. And it's almost like they're lining you up to purchase again in a few years when your battery's knackered. I don't like the idea of that. So we've spent a bit of time and we've looked at the Inspired Inspirations Tiny Tablet. I'm really, really happy with it. I really do think it's the market leader of all these comparable products, and even other products like that do a similar thing. So you might think, well, I'll get a large projector or a smart screen that goes on the wall. They're not the same things. Like projectors, you're going to have a lot of ongoing costs. The bulbs are expensive. There's always software problems. They've definitely got a shelf life. The smart screens that you put on the wall, but it's in one fixed location, and to get a resident to stand by the wall and use that, it's just not really going to happen. Great for business meetings and presentations and maybe even schools, not in a care setting. This is why this has got to be the leading product on the market. I love the fact that there are just so many different apps, and these apps are being developed all the time to improve the service that you can provide to your resident. It's not often that I'm this passionate about a product, but I really am for this, because it's really going to make a dramatic difference in my grandma's life, and therefore the life of me, my siblings, my aunties, my uncles, everybody that's that's got an interest in her care. Because it is a tablet and it's connected to the Wi-Fi, it's a massive communication device as well. You start doing Skype calls, Zoom meetings, all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden, my grandma can see it. She's not fiddling with a tiny little screen or tiny little buttons, and she's not confused, because the way her mind works, like she's a telephone. It has got a dial on the front and it's got a handpiece and it's fixed. You can't walk around with it. To give her a mobile phone, her brain just doesn't compute that all those things that she used to have in that handheld phone now happens on this little block in your hands. She just can't comprehend that. So this as a massive communication device is only a good thing. The guys at Inspired Inspirations were telling me stories of the impact that this product has had on people's life, and to be honest, it's quite astonishing. People that are just so hard to engage suddenly become curious and then get drawn into bursting bubbles or feeding fish or looking at their home when they was a kid. It really is an absolute game changer for any care home. The biggest objections you're going to get, obviously the first one is price. It's not cheap, but then you don't necessarily want cheap. What this is really good value for money. And I think there's a huge difference in something that's cheap and something that is good value for money. And I think we all appreciate that if you're getting something that's value for money, you're quite happy just to spend that little bit more. But that said, price-wise, it is incredibly competitive to some of the inferior products, you know, the inferior in construction and in the way that they work. But the things that really impress me is the Inspired Inspirations organisation itself. They've got a few awards that they're proud of displayed on the wall, but I think they're really passionate. I think the fact, you know, that they've been into over 1,200 care homes around the country just shows how passionate they are about this. The stories they tell, you can see that they understand the difference that they're making. They're not just turning out a product for a quick buck. This product helps families, it helps the residents, it's helped the staff, and it really is award worthy. I think that's the only way to describe it. You know, they deserve some serious recognition for the things that they're doing with these. Now, they said that when they supply, that they provide free training. I think although it's easy to use, there are a couple of things, you know, you're going to run into some technical issues, as you always do with your phone, for example, you know, and we can't always rely on just turn it off, turn it on, you know, turn it off 10 seconds, turn it back on and do a little power cycle, and hopefully that'll sort it out. So to get some training with this, that really does set my mind at ease. You don't know what the care staff in your home are like. To know that they've had a little bit of training, they're not going to get frustrated and it's just not going to get left in the corner is good. You know, they said that if they can train you well enough, that this will just get used more and more and more. And it's a big part of their sales process, because the more you see the value in these tables, the more tables you're going to want to order. To understand that there is that much thought gone behind into the support for this table gives you a lot of faith in what you're actually buying, and a lot of trust in them as an organisation. I can't ever imagine that they would turn up, wheel this out of the van, leave it in your care home, see ya, wave as they walk off, and you don't really know what you're doing with it. So all in all, if I was to wrap up and summarise the Inspired Inspirations Tiny Tablet, I really do think it is a must-have for any care home. When you think about the objections of people not being able to use it, I really don't buy it. Therefore, it boils down to price. And I think even if a care home needs to do a certain amount of fundraising, this has got to be where care homes are going, to invest in technology to create an incredible environment for their residents to live in. And my biggest thing with Inspired Inspirations is the faith that I've got in them as an organisation. You know, I believe what they say. I believe when they talk about lead times, prices, upgrades, I genuinely believe what they're saying. You know, I don't think it's just a sales patter. I think they eat, sleep, breathe and everything else these tables, and it definitely shows. All in all, really, really impressed.